Hey everybody, how's it going? My name is Jake Hess. Nice to meet you all and see you all here. I'm normally from the solar industry, but I dabble in the roofing industry a little bit. You guys probably seen me at RoofCon a couple times. And I'm here to talk to you about working on your business and not in it. Some people have hit on that a little bit earlier, and I am a big proponent of not working in your business. The clicker's not working, so we're just gonna go right along here. What is your dream with your business? What is your dream with your business? Some of you in here are business owners, right? I know someone asked earlier, but you guys raise your hand if you're business owners. Most all of you are? Okay, that's gonna make this real easy. What's your name?
David.
David? Can I ask you a question publicly in front of people? I'm doing it right now. All right.
You are? Yeah, so technically you did.
What was your dream with your business? Why did you want to build it?
So I don't know. I'm not a business owner right now.
Oh, do you want to be one?
Maybe eventually.
This isn't for you.
It's not for you. I'm gonna earn the bike.
I'm gonna come back to you though. Who owns a business that wants to talk? Why did you build your business? What's your dream? You hold it, you go.
Probably to have, building something is fun. It's kind of like my passion. And I think a business is like the ultimate thing to build. It's something that is a machine that can just generate, and you worked on that, and it's something that you built from ground up. It's kind of like a pride, you know?
It is a pride thing. It is a pride thing, right? I have this dream when I built a business. I decided that I wanted to like have no one know who I was. I know that sounds weird. This is when I feel like I've made it. I'm a successful business owner. I imagine myself in this really high skyrise, tall building in New York City. And I walk in, and there's this guy running with paperwork, and I walk in, and he bumps into me, and his paperwork flies everywhere, and he looks at me, and he's like, "What the hell, man?" And he just gathers it and runs at my own company, and he doesn't know who I am. For me, that's when I know I've made it as an entrepreneur. I mean, isn't that success? Right? All of us build businesses so that we don't have to work anymore, yet all of us are working in our business. And I say all of us, I still work in some of the businesses that I built. I built a few of them. Some of you guys have probably heard of some of them. SolarCon is one of them. It's happening in April. Another one is the Solar Academy. Helio Gold, I sold that one. There's some other things that I've worked on and built, but I always had this dream of not working inside of the business. But it's really hard to do. So I'm going to go through and explain to you guys some of the things I did to be able to build myself out of the business and talk a little bit about that. So, you're going ahead of me. I like this. All right. No, I'm not. All right, the reason most people start a business, let's see it, number one. They can do it better than the other companies they have experienced. You guys all probably felt this way. I know that you talked a little bit about this, right? Everyone feels like they can build a company better than anyone else. You've all been through it. You've all worked with other companies. And you said, man, I am tired of this shit. I'm going to go do it on my own. I'm going to go build, and I'm going to show them how to really do this, right? Then we all find out, I don't know about you guys. I called the guy that I left after I said, hey, I'm going to do this on my own. I called him. I'm like, I just want to say I'm sorry. I had no idea what you were going through. You guys ever done that? You done the sorry phone call? A couple of you, yes. You know what I'm talking about. Next reason. They can show their market a better service. The company you're working with maybe got some bad reviews. You don't believe the way that they were treating your homeowners, or depending on what business it is. We just heard the insurance guy talking about his clients are going to be different than actual homeowners, right? He can give a better service to other people. You guys can give better service to your market, your clients, whoever those are. We believe that we can give a better service, and that's another reason we started the business. Go ahead. They can show their employees a better service. Actually, that's one of the reasons I've started mine. I was just a sales guy. I was just a door-to-door knocking sales guy, and I thought, you know what? This company is really hurting my friends. They're really hurting the people that I'm bringing in to do this. I'm going to build a company that takes care of them. That's when I originally started mine. That's why I wanted to do it. That was my origin story. I can treat salespeople better than anyone else can, and I believed it. And I went and did it. All right, next. A lot of people want to be in control of the outcome. That's the main reason they want to start a business. They want to control the flow of the business, the fluidity in which the account goes through all of your systems and processes, and be able to give the customer an experience all the way from A through Z, all the way from your employees, your sales reps, your homeowners, everyone. Let's see the next one. They can spend more time with their families or doing what they love. Oh my gosh, that one's a lie. Right? We go back to that one. They can spend more time with their families or doing what they love if they are the boss. How many of you guys thought that? Raise your hands. The rest of you are smart. So like 10 of us, we got it really wrong. I started spending time with my business more than I did with my family. The day my son was born, I actually left the hospital. I didn't think it was bad at that moment. You did that too?
Right after.
How long ago was that?
2016.
Was it okay?
Delivery room.
What's that?
I walked out of the delivery room. I looked down at my wife and said,
Yeah. Was it okay?
it was when I got back.
How do you feel about it now?
Wouldn't have done it.
Yeah. I wouldn't do it again either. I wish I could go back in time and fix the mistakes that I made. I didn't put importance on some of the things that I probably should have because I convinced myself that my business is the most important thing because it provides for my family. And I'm just doing this to work to provide for my son. I'm doing this for you, right? Doing this for you guys. And you know what? It doesn't matter how wealthy we get. If our spouses, if our wives, if our loved ones, if we're not around and they're living life without us, it doesn't matter how much money we earn, right? My little kid, he's got everything under the sun that he wants. There's things I regret buying. There's this thing called a crazy car. You guys ever seen those? They swivel on an axis and you can drive them anywhere. The kid's driving in my house. He avoids all the walls. I don't know how he does. It's like Mario Kart for real people. And he's a magician at it, but still, every now and then he thinks it's hilarious to run in my heels, my calves, like my Achilles tendon. I'm like, oh, fucking kidding me. But that's what he's going to remember. He's going to remember doing that. He's not going to remember having the toy. Right? He's not going to remember all the stuff that I got him. He's not going to remember if dad wasn't around or if mom wasn't around. So there are a lot of regrets I have. I probably would never walk out. I will never walk out. If I have a kid, I will never walk out of that hospital again to go work. I won't do it. Another time I got hit by a car and, I was pretty jacked up in the hospital. They had me on a morphine drip and I had to run payroll. How many of you guys still running payroll for your company? At least giving the stamp of approval, entering it in. Some of you guys are. What's your name? Right here? Kason? I like your honesty. You're like the most honest person here. Like, yeah, I've done that. I've done it. Me too. Kason. All right. So let's go to the next slide. Time with our families. We need to be able to do that. I want to show you guys how to build time with your families, how to do the things that you actually love. Get back to the reason that you built the business, because we didn't build the business to work in the business. The business starts to become our identity, right? If we start to give up enough things in our lives and we start to give up the passions we have, surfing, Eric said he likes surfing. I haven't been surfing in 2 months. I love surfing. I used to go like 3 or 4 times a week. Now that I'm doing another company, I'm not. And that's okay. Sometimes it's okay to keep working in your business, but it's not okay to keep doing it without a plan to get out of it, right? That's not okay. Because it starts to really hit us. It starts to really take away from different aspects of our lives. So I spend less time with the ones that I love. That's a fact when I'm building a business. They say if you're building a business, there's 2 things that you need to build. Your business and all of the relationships that you damaged along the way of building it. Right? Once your business is built, now you got to go back and rebuild all the relationships because you just neglect. Next one. I lose sight of the activities and hobbies that made me feel the passion that I feel in my life today. Next. I lose relationships with friends and missed opportunities. Next. I can't live or the company will suffer. How many of you all feel like that? Let's get some engagement here. How many feel like that? You really feel like your company will suffer if you're not doing the things that you love? Right here, thank you. Over back here. How many of you have made it where you're not working in the business anymore? Get out. Get out now. Just kidding. That's amazing. That's amazing. I'd love your insight on some of this stuff as well. So feel free to chime in. We can make this interactive. All right. Work becomes your identity. I talked about that one. All right, next. So here we go. I want to talk about these different levels inside of your business. Where are you guys at? What level are you? And I think there's 5 different levels. So level number 1 looks like this. That's me, the business owner. That's you. You guys own the business. And this is what it might look like. You guys might go ahead and get a person that believes in your vision, and you have one person with you that believes in your vision, it could be a sales rep, it could be an employee, it could be whatever, it could be someone installing the shingles on the roof, it could be whatever it is, but you have someone with you, a partner, and it doesn't have to be a business partner, it can be just someone that you can rely on and trust, and you start to build your business, because we all started with that first one, right? Next, then you get another one, and then you get two more, and then you get another one. But you guys can see in this level 1 pattern here, this level 1 of leadership, that all of the communication is coming from me, the business owner. Yes, maybe I am talking to the sales team, and then I'm talking to the project managers, and then I'm talking to the accountant, and I'm the one talking to everybody, and I'm the one giving all the directions and all the information. Okay, that's a level 1 leader. And to get out of a level 1 leadership can be difficult because it means that you have to start giving things up. Next slide. I'm only good at a few things in business. I'm not good at all of them. I did have to learn how to do a lot of different things in business. Things that I never thought I would do, right? You talked about picking up a hammer. How much is my hours worth? You know what, I did pick up hammers. A lot of times when I did TIs or tenant improvements inside my office spaces, I got so tired of paying contractors that I go, how much do you want to tear down that wall? I will do it. Give me a hammer. I will tear that wall down. I'll do the demo. I'll clean it up. And so I actually ended up buying all of the Milwaukee tools that I possibly could, all of them, and built another business with it because I didn't want that to be personal taxes. And my solar company is not a construction company, so I started buying all these tools. And anyway, let's go through this. Culture. If I was focusing on sales, I told you guys earlier, I was focusing on sales. I wanted to give the best sales reps the best experience I possibly could, let them know that they're taken care of. I could build a better environment for them than anyone else could on the sales side of things. I think that if I was going to work on sales, I better give it my all. I better give it 100%, right? And if I'm giving that 100%, then what am I neglecting? What are you guys neglecting? I've listed culture up here. What do we got next? Collecting reviews and social proof. Next, refining and systematizing operations. That's a really, really big one that we're going to talk a little bit about here, okay? We're going to talk about this one. If I am focused 100% on something, what am I neglecting? Maybe you guys can hit on some of these at some points during the day, but what if you had someone working on them at all times? How fast would you grow? How much more time would you have? How much more freedom would you have? Right, let's keep going. Making sure payroll is correct. Oh my gosh, that one's naughty. Keep going. Project management, keep going. Social media, let's go. Analytics and statistics. Analytics and statistics is a big one. Some of the stuff that these creative minds come up with mathematically is just so fun to look at sometimes. It's like a GPS navigation of exactly where you want to go. You're like, oh my God, I didn't know I was spending that much money over there. Let's take some of that money and allocate it over here because we're not seeing results. Statisticians inside of businesses are a real thing. Once you get to a certain level, you have a full-time statistician, and sometimes they have teams because you can actually start to predict the pathways that you want to take to go in your business. You can start to create budgets for it. And then there's sales. Maybe some of you are good at some of these other things. I said I was good at sales, and I want to show sales reps a good experience. Maybe you guys are good at some other things and maybe not so much at sales, right? Let's keep going. So what are you guys neglecting in your business? And I would encourage you all to write that down because I'm going to show you ways to probably get some of that. Some of the things that you neglect. We don't come here to get better at the things that we're already good at. That doesn't make any sense. We come here to get better at the things that we are bad at. None of you spent money to come here and say, I just want to make sure that the things that I'm really good at, other people say I'm really good at too. Like, that's not why you're here, right? You're here to learn. You're here to grow. Let's go to the next one. If you are the owner of your company, then you have got to believe your time is more valuable to the company than anybody else's that you hire, or you will never grow. That's a pretty bold statement, but it's true. You have to believe that if your time is freed up, that someone else that you're putting in that position of the thing that you were working on, that you can generate more revenue for the business than if you were working in that position. You have to believe that. It has to be in your core. All right, next one. You have got to believe that if you can free yourself of a job then you are one step closer to building yourself to freedom. And that's, I think, why a lot of you built a business is you wanted the freedom. Yes, you wanted the control. You wanted to show people a better experience. You wanted the way to do it. But none of you, I'm guessing here, none of you said that you wanted to build a business so that you could work in it for the rest of your lives. That's called being an employee, right? All of you wanted to build this because you had a greater dream and a vision for yourself in life, right? So what do we need to do to collect that? What do we need to do to win? What do we need to do to hit that goal? And that comes down to delegating. Let's go to the next one. If I had to give up a perk, whether it was ownership, salary, golden handcuffs, or et cetera, in order to get free to focus on the neglected items, then will my company make more money? Doesn't that sound like a simple concept? Who's in their first year? Yes. What's up?
What's up?
All right. How many employees have you got?
4 in the office,
4 in the office, and then how many in the field?
depending on subs, anywhere from 7 to 14.
What do your employees do? Your 4 employees?
We've got our office manager here, chief of operations, project manager, and a salesman.
And you brought these 2 here?
Yeah.
That's a good leader.
Gotta
That's
have the
good.
ownership mentality.
Yeah, you got to invest. You got to invest in your business. This is a good way to invest in your business. Not picking up the hammer and swinging it if your time's worth $144 an hour. It's investing in your business and finding people that can learn at the same rate that you are and put them in positions that maybe you don't want to do, right? This is how you grow. Next. Will I be able to recruit more sales, get faster cash flow, or create better experiences for the company while still fulfilling why I chose to start this business? My why was to provide a better experience for sales. Okay? Do I need to actually be involved in the sales meetings and everything to have that happen? Not necessarily. But if I did pull myself out of some of the things that I believed that I had to do. So salespeople, they really love to be nurtured. They take them out to lunch. You buy them incentives. You gamify some of the KPIs and throw competitions out for them. Salespeople love this stuff. But if my time is spent doing all of those things for them to have a good experience, then I don't have any time to go really interact with them and show them and guide them, or maybe even other people on my team or other employees. I don't have the time for them because I'm so focused on the things that I wanted to get into business for that I forgot about all of the rest of it. I forgot about all the things that make business good for the people that work with me, the culture that they work in, the environment of when they come into the office, how they're treated, right? Showing social proof to the rest of the market that I'm in that other homeowners do love us. If I was sitting there focusing on a competition for the sales reps and making sure they got their incentives, then it would take away from me building something to ensure that I got reviews for my company so that, as Eric said, as people go and do Google searches on you, they're doing homework. They're putting time in, they're investing time to find out about you. If I go in and I only have 3 to 10 reviews, what kind of experience is that for my salespeople? Right? So maybe we have to redefine the things that we have in our minds that we consider a good experience or providing a good experience. So there's other facets of your business that you can focus on. It doesn't have to be just sales, right? If you're good at SEO and you think you can really help on that with your business, then you're taking away from the sales side of it, and you got to have someone there to take care of that. Otherwise, the SEO doesn't really matter, right? Unfortunately, as a business owner, you guys have this intricate spider web of things that intricately tie together that if one of them, like these cogwheels, if one of them slows down, then the rest starts to mess up. My way is not the only way to hit a goal. Oh my goodness, this has been one of the toughest lessons for me to learn in my earlier years in building businesses. I genuinely believed that because I had this vision and I believed that I could do it better than anyone else, I believed that it had to be done my way, right? We heard other people up here talking about what's the vision. You had a lot of good stuff. Can I just take your slides? Can we switch them out? Talking about what's the vision, what's the mission. If your people can't recite those things back to you, then you're not going to be able to grow, because now I can hand stuff off to him as long as he has my core values there, as long as he understands the purpose of my business or where I want to take it or what our goals are. As long as I'm communicating all of these things, we can get to the same destination. It doesn't have to be my path. It can be someone else's, as long as we're getting to the vision that I had, right? A lot of times I used to think that we had to do it my way, very specifically my way. Sometimes with marketing, sometimes with promotion videos, sometimes with recruiting. I would teach people the exact way I would do it, and if they weren't doing it that way, it wouldn't work. It does work for me, and it worked at a very high level. I was one of the top performers in the country at what I did, but it was very hard for me to take all of the years of knowledge that I had and instill it to someone that's brand new. That's very difficult to do. If other people are good at things, we need to allow them to be good at them. Let's go to the next slide. It doesn't make sense to hire smart people and tell them what to do. We hire smart people so they can tell us what to do. I made huge mistakes when I hired people, huge ones. I'd bring them in and I'd start to give them a laundry list of items that I wanted them to do. Like literally specific, like I want you when you come in to use the green sticky notepad things instead of the blue because I think it invokes a different type of feeling in the, like, are you kidding me? Like, how deep do we want to get into all the regulations we put on the people that we employ, right? They have got to have a voice. They've got to tell us what to do. That's why we're hiring them. If you're hiring people to give them directions and tell them what to do, you are hiring the wrong people. You're being cheap. Let's say that one person's $20 an hour, another one's $30 an hour. The $30 an hour one frees up all your time. The $20 an hour one, you have to train the hell out of them. Which one's more valuable? It's hard to say. The best barometer that you can use is this. If I bring this person in, will my time be freed up enough to build the business more? That's when you hire somebody. That's when you delegate. Can you make more money for your business if you bring this person in? If the answer is $20 an hour, but you're going to sit there and train them for 3 months, I would rather have my 3 months and hire the $30 an hour person. I know I can make more money than the $30 an hour. I can bring more in. It doesn't mean that I have to go sell. It doesn't mean I have to generate the revenue myself. It just means that I can go find another system or another person or another thing that can bring the revenue in to pay for this person I just hired. There are people that take money out of your business, and there are people that bring money in. If you're bringing a lot of people on that take money, make sure you go and bring the people that are coming in. It doesn't have to be you. Steve Jobs said it best, and I live by this one. Can I get a round of applause over here? We didn't know Tim was in marketing, and thank you so much. The real reason why I built the company, I mentioned this a little bit. I thought it was because I wanted to give the sales reps the best experience by me going in and doing the meetings and showing them how I sold things and can create referral-based business. But it became more than that because Ben had those same skill sets that I did. He could come in and do those exact same things that I could do. He just did it at a higher level. He did it better than I did. And that was kind of interesting that I would bring someone in better than me, because isn't that a little scary? We can bring someone in that has more control of our business than we do, or has more influence on people than we do in our business. I remember I brought some people in and I empowered them, I edified them, I gave them everything I could to make sure that they knew that they were in charge. And they took that and blackmailed me. They said, well, my finances are low and I really need $10,000. So give it to me or I'm going to take your team. That's not fun. It's not a fun experience, but I did have that experience, and it did teach me everything I needed to do to make sure that didn't happen again, right? It took me about 4 months. I was like, okay. I went home. I was crying in front of the mirror. I mean, I was flexing in front of the mirror. I was like, you got this. You got this. And I just couldn't understand why this was happening to me. I'm a good person. I'm creating a business for these people. Why does this person think they can take advantage of me? It was a very hard concept for me to understand. I didn't get it, but there are some bad people out there. And sometimes in business, we're not just worrying about growth, we're also trying to build in protections. Things of bad that have happened, right? Let's go to the next one. Shifting my mindset to focus on the overall experience, that's what I learned. It's about the experience that these people are having. I tell people about good customer service, it doesn't really matter. You guys go into a restaurant, I used to work at Olive Garden. You go into a restaurant, and if you have a soda in front of you, and then they fill up the soda, or what is it here in Utah? You guys love these pink frozen lemonades. You guys go to Olive Garden and order those? None of you know what I'm talking about.
People are not from Utah. In this room.
God bless you all. No. Just kidding. I love Utah. No, but no, it's great. Like, you go in there and rather than having good customer service and having the drinks filled, I realized, you know what? It's about the experience they're having. It's not so much about the service. It's about the experience. In order for people to have a good experience, I need to know what their needs, their wants are. I have to understand what they're there for, right? This goes same for the people that come into your business. What are they there for? People that come in, it's not hard. That's why I'm a waiter. It's not hard. They're there to eat. I put that one together. But if I give them good service and I keep filling up their drink, they're not going to remember anything. I'm going to get the same tip as everyone else. I just keep filling up their drink. They keep having their conversations. I just fill it up and I walk away. Some people need and want that. Business meetings don't bother them, right? Some people need and want that, and you just give them exactly what they need. You give them a better experience than you do service. One table came in, and rather than filling up their Diet Coke addiction, their friends were all joking, hey, she's addicted, only give her one. I was like, well, is this an intervention that's happening here? Because I can make that happen. In fact, we're going to. Today you're having one Diet Coke. Drink it slowly. But they were all having fun. It was the right atmosphere for it, right? You got to make sure of that. So she starts drinking it. It gets empty. And I start making jokes with the table. I'm like, no, I'm not refilling that. And they're like, ooh. And she's like, fine, I don't need it. And everyone starts applauding. And then they go about their business. And I come back with everyone's drinks. And I don't bring it. I bring her a water, right? I bring her a self-help pamphlet. No. But I made an experience out of it. And by the time that it was done, I got a larger tip. And so in Olive Garden, when I was working there, all of the waiters, they started coming to me. I'd gone 1 year of door-to-door sales doing home security. I came back and realized it's not about the service, it's about the experience. And I came back and I really applied that. And I started making triple what the other waiters were, and they didn't know the secret to it. And I was like, well, you know, it's not about you. It's not about them getting good service. They can go anywhere and do that. Every restaurant in the entire industry, or let's talk about you guys. Every roofing company in the entire industry says, hey, we're the best roofing company ever. Trust us. Go with us. We're going to do the best quality work. You can call us anytime. Right? We're going to waive your deductibles. Just kidding. He's not here, is he? He's not going to attack me? Okay. You know, everyone says the best thing, so what differentiates you? You got to give them a different experience than everyone else. You got to give your employees a different experience. You got to create an experience for people that they want to stay in there. You got to build the culture. Let's go to the next slide. The subtle things that makes or breaks the business. Culture, collecting reviews of social proof. We already went through some of these things, but these are more important things, and they're not more important, but these are just as important as sales. Got to have them, so how do I do them? After finding a solution to your operational problem, accounting, cash flow, or even sales problem, make sure that you create a system for them to communicate with each other. Incorporate checks and balances, KPIs, and quality control into your systems between and within these departments. Remember I said this intricate web that has to tie together. Your different departments need to, even if it's one person in that department, we call it a department because we like as business owners, as new owners, we like to sound bigger than we are. Oh yeah, you're gonna wanna call my marketing department. It's one person that works an hour a week. Doesn't matter. But what matters is that they can communicate with the people that they need to, and there are checks and balance systems in case mistakes are made. We just talked about some of the mistakes I made. I hired a person that blackmailed me. I had to build protections in there. I had to start to build red flag indicators that would start to say, hey, maybe this is the time that I should start to edify someone. This is the point where I should start to put people underneath them and trust them. I started to build programs for that. Then I started building the softwares to match that. Then I built the pay scales to match that. Then the entire culture started being built around making sure that I had checks and balance systems. We're going to get to KPIs in a second. Let's go. Now, you can train someone to fill these positions you just created, freeing your time to create another. After you have done this, after you've built the systems, after you've built the KPIs and tracked those and built in your checks and balance systems, then you can hand that off to someone, the $20 or $30 an hour employee that I talked about, and then you can go get another job and figure that one out and then train someone for that and build it into the systems. You can do one at a time. Put some stress on it, put some volume through it, make sure they know what they're doing, see how it works in your systems. If you see a little hole in the CRM, or if you see a hole in the operational process, just fix it. Psh, little Band-Aid right there. That should solve the problem. Now your flow is working beautifully, and now you can go to the next problem. Maybe it's getting social proof, getting reviews. Start to build a system for that. All you're doing in your company is building systems. That's what you should be looking at. How do I make sure that the people that come and work with me and believe in my vision and believe in in the success and believe in what I thought I could take to market, how do I get them to have the same vision as me? How do I get them to operate on a very simple, I guess, assembly line to make sure that these things get done? That's what you should be doing. That's how you build yourself out. Let's go to the next slide. So Ben and I, we started to come to a level 2 leadership, but we're not quite there yet. Level 1 was me talking to everyone, even talking to Ben in charge of sales and talking to project managers, talking to all these people. I'm still doing it. So I needed to move to a level 2. This is how it worked. Go ahead. That's me and Ben. I'm handling the people on the operational side. Ben, I delegated off to him. He's now helping the sales side of things. Now I don't have to do the meetings and make sure they have the best culture because I found someone that I trust to do it. Okay, next slide. Now, if I could get up to that top circle, then I'm a level 2 leader. I have to do that. So what do? Go ahead. I promote Amy. Amy was in these white bubbles down here. I promote her and I start training her everything I was doing in that position so that I could move myself up to a level 2 leadership. This is level 2. All right, next slide. Whew, this is exhausting already. You guys feel like this is a lot of work? Maybe some of you aren't quite there yet. You're still to level 1. Getting to level 2 is exhausting. You're going to go through some trial and errors. Those trial and errors are not bad. Those are actually really, really good because those are the things that you know that you need to fix. Those are your what did I call them up here? You have to fix those problems. I call them, your checks and balance systems. If you know that they're going to happen, make sure that you create the solution, and then in case that solution is missed, you have a backup solution for that solution. Okay? Maybe from another department. If it goes to this department and they screw up, then this department recognizes that it screws up, then it goes back to this one and we start that process over. Right? Checks and balance systems. So it's exhausting. Why am I doing this? Why am I pushing so hard? Why am I pushing into this business? If my job was to just free myself and have the freedom and spend time with my son or family or loved ones or do the things that I love to do, that fictitious thing I put at the end, like, oh my gosh, the reason we built this business is so because we wanted all the free time since we're the boss. How do I actually obtain that goal? How do I get there? Let's go to the next slide. I want to tell you guys a little story. Some of you may have heard this. Some of you might not have, but it really resonated with me. And I wondered, why am I doing all of this? So I'm gonna read through this. And then I want to ask one of you after hearing this, why you would keep going. In fact, let's just pick that now. Who wants to volunteer as tribute? You're my favorite right now. I'm sorry, she just passed you up. There was once a businessman who was sitting by the beach in a small Brazilian village. He saw a Brazilian fisherman rowing a small boat towards the shore, having caught a few big fish. The businessman was impressed and asked the fisherman, "How long did it take you to catch so many fish?" The fisherman replied, "Oh, just a short while." "Then why don't you stay longer at sea and catch even more?" The businessman was astonished. "This is enough to feed my whole family," the fisherman said. The businessman then asked, "So what do you do for the rest of the day?" He's just working, right? Go ahead. The fisherman replied, "Well, I usually wake up early in the morning. I go out to sea and catch a few fish. Then I go back and play with my kids. In the afternoon, I take a nap with my wife. And in the evening comes, I join my buddies in the village for a drink. We play guitar, sing, and dance throughout the night." Businessman offered suggestions to the fisherman. "Listen, I'm a PhD in business management. I could help you to become a more successful person. From now on, you should spend more time at sea and try to catch as many fish as possible. When you have saved enough money, you could buy a bigger boat and catch even more fish. Soon, you'll be able to afford to buy more boats, set up your own company, your own production plant for canned food distribution by the network. By then, you will have moved out of this village to Sao Paulo, where you can set up HQ to manage other branches." Go ahead. The fisherman continues after that. Businessman laughed heartily. "After that, you can live like a king in your own house. And when the time is right, you can go to public and float your shares in the stock exchange and you'll be rich." Fisherman asks, "And after that?" "After that, you can finally retire and you can move into the house by the fishing village, wake up early in the morning, catch a few fish, return home and play with your kids, have a nice afternoon nap with your wife. And when the evening comes, you can enjoy drinks with your buddies, play guitar, sing and dance throughout the night." The fisherman was puzzled and said, "But I'm doing that now. Why are we going through all of this?" All right, you ready? Do you regret raising your hand?
No.
Oh, all right, here we go.
So what was the question?
Why are we still building? Why are we still growing? If we have the things that we already wanted initially, why are we going through this trauma?
I think that we want to make an impact and we want to bring other people with us. I think that's one thing that good leaders do, is they bring people along with them for the ride. And so having an impact for just yourself is one thing, but having an impact to your community is really, I think, big in the roofing industry in particularly.
Ooh. All right, give it up. That was really good. I've been asking that question only one time my whole life. This is the first time I've done this presentation. But that was a really good answer, and I wasn't expecting that. I was not expecting that. I do teach this stuff to other businesses, but it's usually in a business setting, and we're sitting in their offices. But speaking in front of people to go over this, I wasn't expecting an answer that great. It's to make an impact. A lot of the billionaires that I work with, that is their answer. They want to make an impact. It becomes less, once you've reached a certain point, it becomes less about, hey, I need to work on my business. It's how can I make an impact in the industry that I'm working on? Beautiful answer. Thank you. All right. So if we have found out the reason why we keep going and why we trudge through this, now maybe we can get to a level 3 leadership pattern. Okay? Now maybe Amy and Ben are 2 of those little circles right there, and maybe I found a couple more. I mentioned earlier I don't like accounting, so maybe one of those is an accountant. Okay, another one's a project manager. And I bring them up there, and I have this separate meeting with them, and only them. Creating a level of hierarchy in your business is not bad. It actually has a lot of advantages to it. It can really put you way ahead, because it allows the people to come in to say, oh, I want to get to that level. It allows them to grasp for something they don't normally get. If you don't give people something to reach for when they come into your company, you're not going to grow. They have to feel like they're going to grow. No one wants to go work at a company and feel like they've already made it to the same position they're going to be at for the next remaining 5, 10 years, right? They want to feel like they're achieving something. So creating a level of hierarchy and having less access to you actually can really cultivate some healthy habits within your business. Okay, so I only meet with the people that I entrusted, the people that I have built into these positions. And I'm only meeting with them, and then I'm talking with them, and they say, hey, well, we ran into this. And I say, okay, here's a solution for that. Hey, we ran into this. Is my brain trust. This is my mastermind group. So that they can go back out to their audience and do the things that we talked about in this meeting. That's a level 3 leadership. Let's keep going. Maybe in this level 3 leadership, you start to build, go ahead. You start to build tools that can free up your time in order to be that person that talks to the mastermind group. A lot of people I've seen in their businesses, they create a website. Jen, how am I doing on time?
You've got 9 more minutes.
Okay. So maybe to reach this level over here on the left, we built a website not only just for the customer-facing side of things, but for your internal employees. Things that take up a lot of your time. Things that took up my time, I have the home screen. On the home screen, I had the current incentives that we were going to do for that month. These little motorcycles. I forgot what they call them, little Grom things. These little motorcycles that you can ride around. Those are the incentives, and if they clicked on that, then they could actually go and see where everyone was ranked within the company. I kept KPIs on a lot of different data, and I'll show this to you guys in a minute. I kept KPIs, and then I just created competitions off of them. Then I could go buy motorcycles and cool things because I would structure those competitions to complement money coming in on these. I said a month, but these motorcycle incentives, I think it was for an entire quarter. And it's okay to go really big with your incentives. You can go get a boat if you want to, as long as the incentive you're putting out pays for it. Now here's the thing about incentives. I'm getting a little side tangent here. Have them in the office. Don't like show a picture of them and then like have them out, like say, hey, we're going to go get that. Have them in your office, visual, so every time they come in and see them, they want them. It will not work if you don't have them in your office. Some of you probably run competitions and you like create the digital thing. You send texts on your phone, hey, you're going to get this if you win. No. Have it like physically there. That'll change everything for you. All right. So go back. So over here, they can go through this website. You see incentives up there. All of the training that they needed. Started creating training videos. Onboarding. One of my favorite things to do was creating this website for an onboarding process. On that onboarding process, they had to enter their name and their address and all their data, and there were steps that they had to follow in order to implement or in order to attach all of their needed documentation, all the photos I needed to hire them. Sometimes I'm not doing the recruiting, the manager is, or other people are. I need to know what was promised to them, so there's something for that. Automatically get sent to the person recruiting because they enter that in, automatically get sent. The onboarding process was automated. I needed it to be automated because I was tired of spending time on it. And then once it was done, it went to the person that was in charge of making sure that an email was created for that person, that they started going through the training schedules, that they started going through this process that I created. I've seen a lot of businesses don't have an internal website for their own organization. They just have one for customer facing. That's very difficult to give everyone everything that they need. And some of you probably like form Dropboxes or CRMs or things like that. It's not the same. Attach the CRM here to a website, because if you get to tell them one thing, a lot of you say, oh, here's a login for this software. Here's where you go to find this. Here's where you put it all on one website. You're done. You just simplified your life. Over here on the next one, get your hat here. This is, everyone comes in, they want to get a hat. Here's how you do it. Give us 5-star review on Google. Just go click it. Give us a video testimonial of why you started to work with us. Hey, I decided to go and work at this roofing company because I really believed in what they were saying and it was different. I got a different vibe, whatever it is. And then you start putting that up on YouTube and typing your domain on it so it goes to your websites, right? And then people go on and see this when they're job searching. They're going to see these testimonials from people why they work with you. If a homeowner sees it, they're going to say, wow, this person's built a great culture for their salespeople, right? People want to know that their internal operations is not fighting, that you have a good culture. Let's go to the next one. Then I started to build software so people could track their projects. They could see how much commission they've earned. This is for a team. This is for a whole team. They could see where all their projects were at. They could see how much revenue they've made. They could see how much they've sold. Next, inside of this, they would click on it and they could see all of the notes of everything that we were working on, the commission that they were earning on it, the address, all the customers' data. This slide that you just saw with that over there on the left and this whole thing cost me $5,000 to create. I just called up a coder and I was just like, hey, these are the things I want. Then I went to Google and typed in interface. If you give them a CRM and they have to click through Salesforce that we've seen at every company, it's not sexy to salespeople, right? They don't like to operate in it, but if you make something custom for $5,000, then it looks like your own thing. It looks like your own business. It's your own culture that you're creating, right? I hate universal language stuff. I hate if I give them access to Salesforce and every other company is using it and they're like, oh, I work at this company and I'm using Salesforce, but if I go to this one, it's Salesforce too and I already know how to use it. Makes it easier to lose your people. Right? It's hard to grow when you start losing people. Let's go to the next one. I separated the teams out. Solar Soldiers, that was the Alchemists, Apollo. I kept KPIs on this team to see where all of them were at, and I pitted them against each other, and I posted this on screens and on their phones. So every time they came in, one manager would be really good at a certain price that they were selling at, and another one would just be horrible. And this team was really good at selling larger projects, and this team was not. And they would take the strengths, and they started training each other like, hey, man, you were kicking my ass at this metric. Could you come and train my team how you're doing this? Because you guys are the #1 in the company. Like, absolutely, we can do that. If you come over and teach my team how you got that #1 spot in that. I don't have to be involved in the trainings anymore. I separated the teams out, posted KPIs, and now they start training each other for the best practices because they don't want to look like idiots in front of their salespeople. Systems, processes, operations, posting KPIs. This is a lot of stuff you've heard about. But now we're getting to a level 3. We're starting to build ourselves even further. Keep going. Here's a recruiting brochure. Keep going. This is a gamification process here. This is an entire culture that we're building. These guys wanted to be the Spartans. So we created language in here. Go back to it. We created language in here that says, you will be expected to relinquish your management armor, javelin, sword, and position with the dignity and grace and style of a prestigious Spartan. Managers are expected to be accountable for their own success, actions, and shortcomings. By signing the manager agreement, you're agreeing to report the terms you are not following and respectfully resign from your position. Please do not make the owners take the position from you. An honorable Spartan and legend will hold themselves accountable. This is just for a manager packet. Then we can create a gaming system that we can go next one. We can create a gaming system that we can start to measure the things that we want them to be good at. The volume that they're producing. A lot of people say, oh, let's just measure sales. That's not just the health of your business. Sales definitely brings it in, that's for sure. But technique, the way that they're submitting all the paperwork, the way they're following through to get all this stuff to you, even though the job was sold, they still might need extra documentation. How good are they at that, right? How good are they at helping the other people around them within your organization and helping them move their car or move out of their house? That's fellowship, right? And these words over here, these should just go along with the culture that you're trying to build. Popularity, 5-star reviews. How many 5-star reviews is this team getting? And we keep these metrics, and we start to say, okay, a team is no longer strong just based on their volume. They're strong on a lot of things that makes the business healthy, right? Go to the next slide. Once they're strong on things that make the business healthy, then we create a point system. For the volume, here's an example. Maybe the manager 1 is an archer in volume. They only got 2 points. And maybe on manager 2, on volume, they're a warrior. They kicked their ass. They got 4 points. But you can see, even though they were close, this one got 15 points, and I'm starting to measure off the health of the business and not necessarily just the volume. All right, keep going. Rule books with the gamification, let's go. The contract, let's go. Now we're starting to get into a level 4 leadership where instead of me saying, hey, you guys should do this, what's your question now? Here's how you solve it. Here's how you solve it. Now they're starting to solve some problems within each other, and I'm just there kind of listening like, oh, instead of this, do this. Now I'm building systems enough and building props enough where this manager can say, hey, let me train your people on this, you train us on that. Same with the operations team, the project managers, the accountants. I'm intricately weaving these positions together so that they can start to talk amongst each other. Let's go to the next slide. Considerations for some risk. We're just going to fly through these, Tim, if you don't mind. Here's things that you start to risk as you grow. Bad publicity, you get audited by the EDD. I did too. Don't worry about that. Eric, I went through that. You said you're going through that? All right, well, I don't wish it on you. Dating your top talent? Are you kidding me? That was one of the worst things that could have happened. I'm like, why are you guys dating? Please don't do that. You know, high cancellations because the trainings aren't quite there. Leadership vanishing trick. All of a sudden they're there one day and the next day they're gone. Voila, right? Like, oh my God. All right, next. These are all things that you have risk for. Things that you must have to make sure those things don't happen. A clear guide for growth potential within your organization, separate teams, a language or tools created specifically for your company, a hierarchy, a recruiting brochure. Here's a list of things that you can build to make sure that some of this bad stuff doesn't happen. And this isn't all of them. You guys are going to come to a list of 1,000 things. But that just means that you have to create 1,000 things to mitigate those bad things from happening. And that's your job as a business owner. That's how you build yourself out of working in your business. You actually work on your business. You don't work in it. You don't go to the meetings. You say, I'm tired of these meetings. I can put someone else in this place and I could go work on this problem now. And then I'll put someone here and I'll work on this one. Let's go to the next slide. Here's an example of a project for growth. Lumio, you guys know them, they're right across the street. Multi-billion-dollar company. It was me, Greg Butterfield, Sean Branches. We were the 3 running this thing. And what we did was we built a pattern of growth on a pay scale. This pattern of growth actually complemented the cash flow into the business. It complemented losses that we were generating. It complemented losing reps, recruiting people in. And if any of you know about a 20-60-20 pay scale, I think that's the healthiest way to model a pay scale. This complemented that. But we wanted it really easy to recruit people in, so we created contracts. You guys see over here? Equity grant program. Those are the golden handcuffs I talked about. An addendum. That means if someone is recruited on, the person that's recruiting them is writing all the things that they promised them. That is in this proposal plan that we generated. If that happens, who pays for it? The manager does, the one that made all the promises on that paper. But we have record of it, so we know exactly who promised it, where it went, what was promised, and we actually go through the legal process and authorize it or not. Down here, we'll go back. We have all the different levels: setter, experienced setter, closer, manager. And then we created contracts for every single one of them. You can see the contracts right there in the bold down at the bottom. Can we court them a little bit? Can we just take them out and have a good time before we get them married to us and we get them embedded into our company? Let's make it really easy, right? And then we can make the contracts harder and more strict as we go along. We get them bought into the company more and start slapping those golden handcuffs on. The contracts should complement the position you're in so that you can get them in easily. Let's keep going. So let's talk about the setter experience. Here's an example of a setter pay scale. Here's how much they make. Here's all the if and then statements. All that shit that I went through, all the bad stuff that could happen, all the bad stuff that could happen in a company, all that stuff I went through, I built it into a pay scale, how they got paid, what the policies and procedures were. This is the first page. Go to the next one. Here's the second page of the setter. Here's the third page of the setter. Go to the next one. And now we're at the next setter pay scale. This is the experienced setter pay scale. What's different? They have to read through these. And all of these if and then statements that I put on there are to protect what happens. Like, for example, what happens if this manager starts to recruit that manager's setter because they're a really good setter? What happens? All of that is in here because I've been through it. So if you guys aren't logging and keeping track of all the bad shit that has happened to you, you'll never be able to build yourself out of it, because it is those things, those are the keys. Those are the building blocks you need to get your business to perform without you. 89 pages it took to build this plan. And it helped with all of those things. All of them. And this is just a pay scale for the sales team. Yet it had to do a lot to do with EBITDA, project management, quality control. We started telling them, hey, you're going to get full commission if you have the paperwork in by this time. All of that stuff is in there so that when we onboard them on that automated website, they know exactly what they're getting into. They had to initial each one of these things. Right? Let's keep going. Then you can start to create training videos. How many of you guys get the same questions? Every time you hire someone, they come to you with the same questions. How do we submit the, yeah, you guys know what I'm talking about. How do we do this? Like, I swear, if you ask me that question one more time, here's how you do it. Let me show you real quick, all right? And you have to, because you want your business to grow, but you can start to create training videos. You can start to create processes. They click on this, okay, this is done. Hey, here's a video of the next things that you're gonna start to look for. Right, next. Now that you have all of this stuff, now you've built yourself out. Now you're a level 5 leader. Now you don't have to be involved in your business anymore. Now the people, Amy, Ben, and the others that I have here, now they're all talking with each other and they're operating within the systems that I built, and I no longer have to be here anymore. That's how you sell a company. No one wants to buy a company if they're not gonna say, hey, let me give you $80 million just so I can work in your company. No, what they're gonna say is, if I give you this money, how much am I gonna get back without working? That's what they're really saying, right? And if you can show them that you can do this and that you haven't been there, then you have a greater chance at selling your company. I'm not saying you can't sell it by building yourself out. It's just gonna be easier to sell it, right? Next. The need of our control is an illusion. We're almost done, Jen Silver. Do you want the control of your company? Keep going. Do you want the credit of building your company? Or do you want the money from your company? You have to ask yourselves, what is it that you want? Next one. Or can you have all of this in a different way than you thought? Can you have all of those things? Do you really have to be in control? Control is an illusion. You guys are creating that illusion yourself. You are saying, I need to be involved. I need to have my hands in it. I need to have my thoughts on it. You're creating that illusion all by yourself. I can get to the same end result and have other people do it as long as you build the systems there. Next. Here's my secret weapons, because it's about solutions, right? A lot of people come up here and they say all of the vague stuff, but they never give you the solution. I'm telling you guys right now, these are the 2 things that I lived by in order to begin to automate my process. This book here on the left, who's read it? Yes, you guys know what I'm talking about. This book here on the left was like my Bible in building myself out of the business. First of all, I had been in business for about 2 years, and then I read this book. And it just resonated. Like the first 2 chapters, I was like, holy hell, this guy is getting everything. I don't know how that's possible. This book was the framework in which I built myself out of the business. The next one was adopting this mentality and truly living by it. Truly living by that, and it's really hard to do. But the more you condition yourself to do it, the easier it gets. Now I just bring people on, oh, you say you're good at this, you're good at this? Cool. I'm gonna hold you accountable to those things. And I just have to just let them do it because they say they're good at it. Of course I do my due diligence, but I live by these 2 things right here. This is what helped me build. And any one of you can do it. You don't have to hire guys like, I charge companies like over here, I charge them 350 grand and they give me 100,000 shares of their company. I think last month we sold like 450 grand in consulting stuff to companies. Really, I'm just stealing everything right here. I'm ripping it all off right here. You guys don't have to. And I'm ripping it off from the other speakers. I just got a lot of material. That's why I'm here. But you guys, these 2 things right here is beautiful. All right, next slide. So, what is your dream with your business? Are you really fulfilling it? Or are you putting the things in place to do it? You all had when I asked initially, can you still get there by delegating? Can you still get there by putting people in a position that do things? Hopefully you're hiring people that are better than you. Next. You guys can follow me. This is my Instagram. You can follow me on Instagram if you like. That's all I have for today. Some people follow me if they want to learn about solar stuff or come to my solar conferences or the things I'm involved in. But if you guys want to follow me, there it is. Jen Silver, thank you very much for putting this together, and thank you for having me here.